This week on My Classic Car, we're visiting the second annual Double Date Customs and Rods Midwest Nationals here in Richmond, Indiana. If you're into rods and customs, you'll want to stay tuned because we're going to show you some of the most creative uses for a cutting torch in automotive paint.
Customs of America was actually started in Los Angeles in 1949 by George Barris, who's commonly thought of as the father of customs in America. At one time they said that there was like 50,000 members in the Customs of America, but actually, in all reality, if you drove your car to the gas station or to the grocery store anywhere around George Barris's shop, when you came out of the grocery store, you were liable to have a sticker on your window saying you were a member of the Customs of America.
This show is called the Double Date Show. It's a real good name for it because double date means that there's two involved. Well, we started out with this show as rods and customs. Now we're now open at this show to rods, custom, classics, antiques, what have you. You bring them in as long as it's a modified vehicle, except for the antiques and the classics. And this show has really taken off.
What do you think of this show?
This is very nice, very good. It's becoming a very great thing because the cars are becoming very detailed and outstanding. It's a very nice show.
What do you think of this show?
Outstanding show. I can't say enough about the Customs of America. It's an old organization. George Barris started back in 1949. I joined it in 1952. You're not another number coming into this show. So many shows you go in, you're just a number. It's not so here.
I think it's a great, this is a great event. This is the second annual Customs of America in Richmond, and it's getting bigger every year.
And these cars are driven, no trailers.
Trailers are for horses, so no trailers allowed here. These are all driven cars.
Well, you're standing in front of a beauty right here. This is yours. Tell me about it.
Yeah, this is a 1936 Ford Cabriolet.
And it's won several events.
Yeah, and recently I just won a Customs of the Year award for 1996 with it.
Oh, very deserving. She's a beauty.
Okay, Dennis, it's a 51 Mercury four-door. Started out with a stock. I chopped at 4 inches. I lowered it 4. Got a big block Chevy engine tranny in it.
It's really a gorgeous piece. I think the rear end is so unique. Your back fenders here. Where do these come from?
The taillights are off a 55 Packard, 56 Packard, and the bumpers are 55 Pontiac, handmade Continental kit.
What'd she start out as?
It's a 57 Chevy, Bel Air hardtop. We changed it a little bit.
Well, I tell you, I'd like to look under the hood. You suppose we can do that?
Not a problem, sure.
Very tastefully color coordinated, even under the hood.
Even under the hood, yes it is.
Did you guys do the work on this car?
Yeah, we did. Yes, we did. Yeah, we did it at home, 2-car garage. So.
Well, I tell you, your work has paid off. She's a beauty.
Thank you, Dennis. Can you back up 20 feet, man? Yeah. Sorry. All right.
Flamethrowing was a popular trick customizers used in the 1950s. By mounting a spark plug in the tailpipe, an ignition switch on the instrument panel, and then flooding the engine by pumping the accelerator, you can impress everyone at the local drive-in by having a huge ball of fire shoot out of your tailpipe. The effect was truly spectacular, especially if you were in the car following behind. Our feature this week is on the '69 Dodge Charger Daytona. The Daytona and its sister ship, the '70 Plymouth Superbird, are the famous winged warriors that beat the Fords on the high banks of the NASCAR superspeedways. Chrysler built a limited number of Daytonas for the street during the '69 model year in order to homologate the car for use in NASCAR competition. A precious few of these were even powered by Chrysler's famous 426 Hemi. Joining me now is Dave Jones. Dave, welcome. Proud owner of one of these winged muscle cars, Charger Daytona. Dave, this is a beautiful baby. There weren't many of these made, right?
No, there were only 503 of these produced.
And this one's particularly unique because of its engine, but we'll get to that. These cars were based on the Charger RT.
Right, the 1969 Dodge Charger RT.
But they had some stunning differences, and probably the most obvious one is this high wing in back.
Rear stabilizer bar. This stabilizer has an adjustment on it with a Allen wrench. You can adjust the height up and down according to how much air you want flowing across it.
And the whole thing is aluminum.
The whole thing's aluminum. This is painted black with a decal that wraps all the way around the back end of the car.
Now I also understand that's not just sitting there. This thing is braced all the way down, isn't it?
Right. This is braced all the way down through the trunk floor, all the way into the frame rails, through supports inside here.
So in essence, you can pick this car up by the wing.
Right. You can actually pick the back end of this car up by the wing.
Okay, well some of the other things that are different from the standard Charger RTs would be the back window.
Right. This back window has a cap put over it. The original back glass was tunneled inside, let bad air get in, and what they wanted was smooth, clean air to come across this into the stabilizer. And so Chrysler put a cap right over the back end of this.
Didn't want any of that bad air.
Right. They
No
wanted
bad air.
Clean air in there.
Clean air. Now, from an interior standpoint, though, she's pretty much a stock Charger.
Right. The car is a 69 Charger. This was a low-option car. No power steering, no power brakes. Doesn't even have a remote-controlled mirror, nor does it even have a tach.
But it does have, you got an automatic, the torque flight in there.
Right. Automatic with a console.
Also, Dave, these stainless pillars aren't something I remember on Charger RTs.
No, this was only on Dodge Daytonas and also on the Superbirds, the sister car. And what they did is they wanted clean air coming around the car, so they put these stainless steel pillars on there just like that they were on the race cars.
No bad air.
No bad air.
No bad air. Another thing, trademark of these cars were these inverted scoops on the hoods. A lot of lore, a lot of speculation, mystique about what those were.
Right. Those were strictly built for tar clearance. What that did was let the tar come up into the fender. They were having problems with going into the corners with blowing tars. The tars would come up and hit the top of the fenders. Chrysler said, okay, what we'll do, we'll cut a hole in there and hide it with a scoop. Now, one other advantage they got out of that was to cool the brakes. It also helped to cool the brakes, but that was the only reason those scoops
But that
were
was
ever put on.
secondary. That was just icing on the cake.
That's right.
Well, and that was another good point, because this really was the car that raced, too.
This was actually your race car, not like NASCAR does today. This was your car. You would buy this car and gut the interior and do your engine work and go racing. This was the race car right here.
Well, how about the front end? The fenders and the hood are really just 70 Chargers.
Right. This is a 69 automobile with 70 Charger hood and 70 Charger front fenders cut down here to accommodate for the nose.
Now, how about the tires? Is that the standard tire that came out, Redline?
Right. The car came with F70 15 Goodyear Redlines. These are remakes of the originals, which is made. I bought these off of John Kelsey in Missouri, but these are a lot better than the original tires because this has a lot softer compound than the original tires came.
Sticks a little better.
Right, sticks a lot better.
Well, of course, the other thing, tail to tip, the front end of the Daytona was certainly distinctive.
Right. A lot of people thought this nose was made out of fiberglass, but it's actually metal. It's metal just like the car. The headlight buckets are made out of fiberglass, but the nose itself is metal.
Well, what powers this is a 426 Hemi. It's actually, again, as you say, fairly rare that these came with that, about 30 or so of them.
Right.
Let's have a look.
The actual production numbers on this is, right now we have in the high 30s known that are true Hemi Daytonas. We'll probably find a few more, somewhere in the low 40s.
Well, that is a monster of an engine. 426 Hemi rated at what horsepower?
This was 425 horsepower, 2 4-barrels, and like I say, this car has no power steering, no power brakes, nothing to slow it down, just raw power.
And that 425 horse was a conservative, insurance-driven rating, wasn't it?
Right. The horsepower on this is far higher than 425, but they was having enough problems with insurance, even with a 383, let alone with a Hemi.
So it was built to go.
It really was.
And speaking of that, we've arranged for a couple hours at Indianapolis Raceway Park Oval. I say we take it out and run it the way it was meant to be run.
That sounds like fun.
Let's do it.
All right. shown well. It's been a fun car. It really has. Like I say, the motor's never been apart in this car. It's still the original block, and we're just getting ready to turn over 61,000 miles.
I love that sound. That's that distinctive sound of the Hemi, but you've also got, this has got some resonators also, doesn't it?
Right, it has the original resonators under it, but the car is basically stock. That's how they sound back then, you know.
And the owners of wing cars, the 69 Daytonas and the 70 Superbirds, are pretty much one family.
Right, there's two main car clubs for the wing cars. One's in Iowa and the other one is in Wisconsin. They're strictly for the wing cars, but a lot of us wing car owners belong to a lot of different Chrysler clubs where if you have just a Roadrunner or Charger or whatever, it doesn't make no difference. We're all in this, you know, in the same club.
What a blast. Dave, I love this car. I love Hemis and anything, but this is great. Thanks so much for joining us.
It's been fun.